Let's have some more news. An anonymous tip leads to arrest of a Georgia man at a hotel in Wildwood. An unlicensed driver from Honduras nabbed for speeding near a rec center. A panicked woman runs for a gun after finding an escaped convict in her BMW. Letters to the editor. This is the short news. Coming up. A panicked woman ran for her gun after finding an escaped convict inside her BMW. The woman was asleep at her home on Carriage Lane at about 4:30 a.m. Sunday when she heard her car alarm sounding, according to the arrest report from Lady Lake Police Department. She went out to check her BMW, which had a history of the alarm being set off by the neighborhood cats. As she approached the car, she was surprised to find the key fob was dead. She opened the car door with her left hand and reached in to turn on the ignition. As she went to turn on the vehicle, she was grabbed by a man in the front passenger seat. That had to scare you. The woman screamed, jumped out of the car, slammed the door, and ran back into her home where she armed herself and called 911. When officers arrived on the scene, she was hysterically crying. I bet. Police found the shirtless man by the BMW. He tried to run away, but was taken into custody at gunpoint. The man, later identified as 32-year-old Jesse James Hall, claimed he had been dropped off in the neighborhood to see a woman. He gave the police a fake name. I've always said it's a good thing that these crooks and things are stupid. A rapid ID fingerprint scanner was brought to the scene, and police discovered Hall's true identity. They learned he had escaped May 22nd from a prison facility in Orlando, where he was serving a 7-year sentence for grand theft auto and selling drugs within 1,000 feet of a church. Hall was taken into custody and booked without bond at the Lake County Jail. Welcome to the short news. Let's get with it. An anonymous tip led to the arrest of a Georgia man at a hotel in Wildwood. The tipster reported that 32-year-old Cordell Joaquin Brown of Smyrna, Georgia, was wanted on a Lake County warrant and could be found at the Comfort Inn and Suites at 1224 South Main Street, according to the arrest report from Wildwood Police Department. Officers went to the hotel at about 12:30 p.m. on Memorial Day and found Brown in the main lobby. He was taken into custody and found to be in possession of a glass pipe with a burnt residue of methamphetamine. He was arrested on a charge of possession of drug equipment and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. A hold was put on his custody by Lake County, probably for extradition. An unlicensed driver from Honduras was arrested after a traffic stop near a rec center in the Villages. May Anthony Trochez Moriara, 22, was driving a blue Toyota pickup with a Texas license plate at about 4 p.m. Friday near the Chula Vista Recreation Center when he was caught on radar traveling at 38 miles per hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, according to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. During a traffic stop, Trochez Moriara indicated he does not speak English and handed the officer a Honduran passport. He could not provide a residential address and claimed he lives in the Tampa area. He was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Lake County Jail on a $500 bond. His pickup truck was towed from the scene. Bravo on reporting what happened to the vehicle. How about letters to the editor? This one here is in response to another letter that was a couple days ago. I didn't bring it up because I thought it was kind of a stupid letter to the editor. But that's what this is, a response. Somebody was saying he don't like tunnels. He don't like driving his golf cart through a tunnel. And he says it'd be easier just to have golf carts cross a road than have a tunnel going underneath the road. And he was talking about over at Southern Trace where all this stuff is at and blah, blah, blah. And I thought then when I read it, there's a lot of mistakes here, so I let it go. To the editor, Southern Trace doesn't go anywhere near 441. This guy doesn't even know where he's at. I really want him driving a golf cart through a busy intersection. He shouldn't even be behind the wheel to begin with. In such a damn hurry to get nowhere. If you don't like where you have to drive your golf cart, drive your car. And if you don't like that, go back up north. That's sent him by Jeff Swill from Lady Lake. Well, Jeff, what you say, I'm not going to argue about it. Just as a point of reference, when you say things like that, that's kind of insulting. It really is. If you don't like it, go back up north. It kind of shows us who you are more than who this other guy is. It just shows us how prejudiced that you might be. The northern people have been coming to Florida forever. There's nothing new here. To the editor, why are American taxpayers footing the bill for EV charging stations, which the government can't seem to build? Who made that decision? Mr. and Mrs. Wawa continued to build gas stations on expensive real estate with their own time. That's sent in by David Tierson from the village of Charlotte. Well, David, first of all, who the hell's Mr. and Mrs. Wawa? There ain't no such thing. Oh, my God. Let me address a couple of things here that I know. I don't know all the particulars about this, but I know how some of it works. As a trucking company owner many years ago, much longer before the CDL was enacted, government had a program set up for guys like me that own a company, take people that's below a certain income level and train them how to, in your trucking company, to be a driver or whatever to improve their lifestyle. It improves their standard of living. It improves their purchase power. And it also makes sure that they don't, hopefully, never end up on a welfare system and all this and that. And if we'd done that and filled this paperwork out, then we got this extra money from the government. And a lot of it was in tax credits and stuff like that. That's how they do it. So we did it. And I taught, I don't know how many, a few of them, how to, they went from working in the garage to being a city driver all the way up to being a road driver. And I had a whole big system where I would take them all out to dinner. Their wives and girlfriends, it's mandatory to be there. I went to a friend of mine's restaurant. We got a private table and a private room, and I would talk to each one of them, let them know how proud I was that they passed in flying colors. Now you're on your own. We're going to do our thing. And I just let each one of them know that, look, I know I'm not the biggest company. I know there's better companies out there that make a lot more money than I can pay. They got a lot better benefits. And first of all, I told them, I said, look, I'll never be able to give you guys a retirement policy, ever. This is even before 401k. That's how far back I'm talking. And so we went that way. I said, if you ever find a better job, a Teamster job or something like that, and you want to go, we'll part of this company. You'll get a great recommendation from me. I will never, ever hold anybody back. I want to see you guys succeed in life and move on. And a lot of them did. And I had no qualms about it. So I'm going to say Mr. and Mrs. Wawa isn't buying anything. Mr. and Mrs. Wawa isn't building any of these EV chargers. What it is probably a government program. The government says, you know, if you allow us to put some there, they give them some kind of benefit. You know, it's hard to tell what it is. It could be anything from extra tax incentives to maybe they get some kind of rent for it to be there. But that's probably what it is, a government program of some kind, because they're pushing these EVs everywhere. And they can't push them fast enough until they get a bunch of these charging stations everywhere. Now, I tell you things I know. I've stayed at several hotels within the last year. Every hotel we stayed at, if you walked around a hotel somewhere, there were EV charging stations on their parking lot somewhere. Well, hotels ain't building them. They're not installing them. There's a government deal going on there somewhere. And now that the village's emergency center over here off of 44 next to Brownwood, I took Sue over there. It's been a while back, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I noticed where handicap parking used to be. I think they've changed it now. Now where handicap parking used to be, it's a whole line of EV charging stations. Villages ain't buying them and putting them in. The emergency center ain't buying them and putting them in. It's a government thing going on there somewhere. So that's who Mr. and Mrs. Wawa is. It's your government. It's a program that they're offering these companies, and they probably get, like I say, they're probably getting a little something on the side there for installing these things. And that's what they are. And they're there for anybody to use, just so you know. The ones that's on the village's property, anybody can use them. They're not there for just the villages. So don't let somebody tell you that. Well, that's the village's emergency room. Only village people can use that. Not true. Anybody can go there. If that charging station will work for you, you can just back up there, sit in your car, read a newspaper, and charge your vehicle up. That's what they're there for. So with that being said, let's just get out of here. That's your short news. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you like the long news better than the short. You like the short better than the long. I put this out there 3 or 4 times. I've got a few comments about it, but not that many. Let me know, because I'm going to probably make some changes depending on what you say. Either way you want to do it, I don't care. The long news is a little harder for me. The short news, it's the same amount of work, but it's all spaced out. That's the only difference. I'm going to get out of here. Have a great day. 97 degrees today. Sue's with Deb. She's way over Mount Dora somewhere, and who knows what they're doing. I'm babysitting, buddy. Take care. Be safe. Be aware. See you on the other side. And
don't leave your keys in the golf cart.